want to go over the worst real estate advice that I hear on the internet today. And most of this advice comes from trusted media outlets and influencers that you are following. So I'm going to give you the top 7 and why they are wrong. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ryan Pineda. I'm a real estate investor and entrepreneur. I flipped over 500 homes. I own over 550 plus rentals. So the real estate advice I'm going to give you is coming from a different place of credibility than the people that you're hearing this from. So the first thing I've heard for the last 9 months is wait to buy until interest rates go down. I've got a newsflash, interest rates are pretty much staying where they are. Because of COVID, the government decided to lower rates and inject more money than they ever have. And this caused prices to skyrocket for almost 2 years. Once they saw that inflation was getting out of control, they decided to raise interest rates faster than they ever had before. Rates doubled basically overnight. And people who did not buy during that period of low rates kind of were left kicking themselves. They watched prices go up faster than they ever had before. And by the time they decided that they were ready to step in because the market had cooled down, they realized that it was going to be even more costly to go buy a home because the rates had doubled. And even with the market having a little bit of a correction, here in Las Vegas, we had a 10% drop from the peak, it is still more expensive to own a home due to the higher rates. And I see a lot of people saying, well, I'll just wait for the rates to go down. But here's the problem. If you listen to anything the federal government's saying, rates aren't going to change. My prediction is they're going to remain pretty stable for the next 6 to 12 months. After that, they may lower them if inflation's under control, but guess what? The moment they do that, prices are going to start going up again. We're already seeing right now inventory dropping nationwide because people are now buying. And so you would be better off buying right now at a higher interest rate and then refinancing a year from now if rates drop. So don't wait for interest rates to go down. If you're ready to buy a house today, just buy the house today. The second piece of bad advice I hear is when people say, well, I'm going to wait to get my real estate license first. Here's the thing. Most real estate investors I know don't even have a real estate license. Because the only reason you really want a real estate license is if you plan to represent people as a realtor. I don't know about you, but I don't plan on taking on any clients as a realtor. Therefore, I do not need a real estate license. But then people say, well, what about the MLS? How are you supposed to get access? There are so many different tools and softwares out there that will give you the equivalent of the MLS. But if you want true access to your MLS, you can easily get it from another realtor if you can befriend them and work out some kind of deal. So do not waste time trying to go get a real estate license thinking that that's the thing holding you back from investing. It's only holding you back from representing another buyer or seller. So if you don't plan to do that, you just want to invest, don't worry about your license. The third piece of bad advice I hear is saving 20% for a down payment. This is just bad advice for so many reasons. Number one, if you find a really good deal, you don't have to go put your own money into it. In fact, it'll be very easy for you to go find somebody else to fund your deal. For the last 8 years I've been flipping homes and buying rentals, I very rarely have used my own money. I end up raising money from friends and family to go buy houses. I go get hard money lenders to fund the majority of the loan, and everyone's willing to do it because I have a great track record and the deals are good. If I chose to use my own money and save up to buy every single house, I would not be anywhere close to what I am today. The only reason I've been able to scale and grow businesses and build a portfolio is because I use other people's money. If you're just thinking in terms of your own money when it comes to real estate investing, you're always going to be limited. But on top of that, let's just take a hypothetical scenario and say back in 2020, you had enough to put 3% down on a conventional loan. But you wanted to listen to so-and-so who said you had to save up 20% and get rid of the PMI and get a lower monthly payment. And so you chose not to buy, and you spent the last 3 years saving up your money in order to have 20%. Well, guess what? Today, you probably don't even have 20% saved up because prices have gone up so much, and your payment's gonna be a lot more than it would have been 3 years ago. So long story short, do not save up money to buy real estate. Always be looking for good deals, and the money will find you. All right, let's jump into the fourth piece of bad advice. Now, this one would seem like common sense, but I cannot tell you how many times I hear it. And if you've been subscribed to my channel for a while, then I'm gonna assume you're not in this camp. And if this is your first time watching me or you're not subscribed yet, well, you gotta make sure that you go hit that subscribe button right now so you can get more videos like this. But the fourth piece of bad advice I hear is when people say, oh, I don't want to have any rentals because I don't want my tenants messing it up. Or they say, I'll never do Airbnb because the tenants are going to wreck it or whatever. Whenever I hear anything about tenants messing up a property or a home and they don't want to rent it because of that, I know they are not going to be wealthy. Wealthy people know you have to have other people use your stuff to make money. Right now, we're in an office building paying rent to a landlord. Have we messed up some stuff along the way? Yeah. But our landlord makes over $20,000 a month just from us on our rent. The rest of the building is paying them even more. So even though tenants are going to be a little bit of a headache and they might break things from time to time, it is well worth it. Do not let the fear of having a tenant stop you from owning real estate. The fifth piece of bad advice that I hear from people is to invest in the cheaper markets. So we'll get people who join our coaching program at Wealthy Investor and they'll say, Ryan, I don't want to invest in California where I'm at because it's too expensive. I would rather go somewhere in the Midwest where homes are under $100,000. And my response is always, why? What's it matter? And for some reason, psychologically, people think that cheaper real estate equals easier. And to a degree, it might be easier to get deals when there's cheaper homes, but you're going to make less profit margin on a flip or a wholesale, and you're definitely not getting the appreciation over time. My friends who wholesale at a high level in the Midwest might average $8,000 to $10,000 in assignment fee. My friends who wholesale in California will average $50,000 to $100,000 in assignment fee. And I get it, higher priced homes are more intimidating, but guess what? If you're getting really good deals, it's irrelevant. There's always a buyer for that property, no matter how expensive it is. There are hedge funds doing billion-dollar developments. The money is out there if the deal makes sense. So do not discount a market and think automatically I gotta go to a cheaper one just because you're in a place like California. And by the way, if you're looking to get started in real estate investing, whether it's flipping, wholesaling, buying rentals, or even Airbnb, head over to wealthyinvestor.com and book a call with my team today. It is absolutely free. We've trained thousands of students, and last year alone, we had over 30 students make over 7 figures. We honored them at our January event, and I would love for you to be the next one if you join the program, put in the work, and change your life. That being said, let's jump into bad advice number 6 that I hear, which is to not flip in a bad area. So when I started flipping houses in 2015, I immediately started going into the rougher parts of Las Vegas. And the reason I did was because there was way less competition out there. All of the flippers at the time were all focused on the nicer areas, and the ROI was just better. I knew I could go flip a $150,000 home and make over 20 grand. My competitors were buying up $400,000 homes to make the same amount of money. And so for me, when I was very limited in money at the time and I hadn't figured out how to raise private money, I just said, well, I would rather do 2 homes in the ghetto than do 1 nice home. I'm gonna make 2 times as much money over here. And the big misconception at the time was that people wouldn't buy that home, or that it was gonna get broken into, or it was gonna be a bad investment and tank. But what I found was those homes actually sold quicker because they were cheaper, and there wasn't a lot of flips in those areas. And as time went on, eventually people started to catch on to what I was doing, and they started to buy those houses as well. But even to this day, we will still buy houses in rougher areas because at the end of the day, I'm not going there to live in it. I'm not looking at holding it as a long-term investment. I'm looking at wholesaling it or flipping it really quickly. Therefore, all that matters is what the ROI looks like on that specific deal. Now that leads to number 7, which is the final one, and this is such a bad piece of advice that I hear, and that is, we're in a bubble, it's gonna crash. I became a real estate agent in 2010, and I heard that the market was gonna crash in 2010 from so many people. And this was after we had already crashed 70% in Las Vegas, and people still thought it was gonna crash again, like a house was gonna all of a sudden be free. And as my career has gone on, every single year people think it's going to crash and we're in a bubble. I heard this in 2012, I heard it in 2015, heard it in 2018, heard it during COVID. I hear it today in 2023. People who sit on the sidelines and say we're in a bubble ain't ever gonna do anything. And those type of people that tell you you're in a bubble, go look at what kind of assets they have and what they've done the last 5 years. If they've completely missed the biggest run up in appreciation the last 5 years in real estate because they're sitting on the sidelines talking about a bubble, I don't know that I would listen to them. So do not let these people with bad advice stop you from getting into real estate investing. If you get good deals, the rest will solve itself. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to learn how to find good deals, check out this next one where I go in depth on how we've gotten over 500 flips.